Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the next part of our program, The Best of Brno Region. In the next hour, we will meet three founders who turned their ideas into globally successful companies. Let's start in the field of cybersecurity, where people from Brno have something to say. Please welcome our first guest, CEO and co-founder of Whalebone, Richard Malovič. Richard, please join us on the stage. Whalebone's mission has always sounded bold: to protect 1 billion people from online threats. How close are you to that goal today?
So we are pretty close to protect 1 billion people. Maybe I can use the opportunity to explain the Whalebone business, right? So imagine a whale, right? And imagine a big whale, right? And the big whale has a big mouth, right? And there is a bone, and that filters the ocean water, right? So we filter the internet traffic from malicious traffic, right? Okay, good. How do we do it? We partner up with telecommunication service providers, mobile network operators, right? And we filter that traffic on the operator level. Okay, so how do we protect the 1 billion people? We need the mobile network operators, and we plug into the network, right? And then we can filter the traffic for you, for the customers. So what's the formula? You get the mobile network operators with their SIM cards, and then you filter the traffic for the people. How many we have today? We have 400 mobile network operators, altogether 650 million SIM cards and homes, right? But we don't protect all of them yet, right? So the operator has to decide, hey, I want to protect these people, that part of my customer base, etc., right? But we're very close to have the 1 billion base, and of course, is a question how many we can convert from that, but that's the story. This is where we are.
Okay, that's impressive. Thank you. Let's talk about business because it's your thing, right? Your first customers were small Czech internet providers. Now you work with big telecom partners, operators. What has opened the door?
So first of all, if there is there any internet service provider in the room? A smaller one? Okay, how many of you use an alternative small internet service provider for your internet at home? Yes, don't worry, right? You're great, right? You're great. And the internet service providers, the smaller ones, they are the best people on earth, right? So you can be sure that they do everything they can to provide you the best quality internet, right? They're entrepreneurs. There are those globally who stood up against the incumbent telecoms at the very early days of internet and wanted to provide internet to the people, right? So I love them, and they're great people. They gave us the first chance, right? Support them because the only thing they have on their mind is to provide you quality internet. The first place, as we were climbing up the ladder, we wanted to do business with bigger ISPs, etc., etc. We came across the mobile network operators, and it came organically, right? So every month, every quarter, we had a reference from a bigger ISP, bigger operator, etc., etc., and up to the today. We're speaking to one mobile network operator who has 500 million SIM cards, right? So, but it took a few years, to have a valid reference always for the next stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now you operate at 5 continents, right? What country was somehow challenging for you while expanding?
Well, I think for everyone, it's probably individual, right? For me, the biggest challenge, there are 2 countries, yeah? And it comes from my personal difficulties to understand the nation and the people, right? So for me, this is Vietnam and United States of America, right? So why Vietnam? Especially the north part of Vietnam, which is very different to South Vietnam. I really have no idea what they think when they speak, right? And there are big differences to understand whether we are going to do business or not, etc. Right? And for me, it's really unpredictable. Compared, for example, to Chinese, I think it's quite predictable. Right? You may not like it, but it's predictable. Right? And then with the United States, I think it's tricky. Because you think that an American person, first of all, looks very similar. You know the people from the movies, etc., etc. So you think they think alike, right? But again, many surprises, right? So very different. So it's tricky because everyone looks the same, and you think you know them. So these are the two most difficult nations for me.
Speaking of expansion and credibility, to gain trust to your partners, you are also leading the European project, the NS4EU. Why is this important? And I mean not only for the Europeans, but for Whalebone, for the business itself.
Yes, so normally I actually am super against doing business with public or with any public money. I'm a very liberal person. I think the state, we don't need the state after all, right? And the DNS4EU, it's kind of an initiative driven by European Commission to provide safe and secure infrastructure for the continent, right? And so it's public money, and normally I think it smells, and you shall not touch it, right? However, the evaluation criteria of this tender, right, was business viability, business case, and the fact that it's kind of a public-private partnership between the European Commission and us, Whalebone, as a provider of technology. So this is what I like it, because there is a business challenge, and we need to make it viable. So after all, what does it? We provide safe internet infrastructure, especially for the public sector in Europe.
And I can imagine that it opens also the door for other partners, right?
It opens the door, right? But again, what I like is that everyone's going to pay for it, right? And I think this is the healthiest check, whether what you do makes sense.
Just a quick reminder for the audience, if you have any questions for Richard, send them in through the Eventy app. We will try to answer as many as possible later on. Now let's move to the topic of external funding. After several years of growing without investors, you have recently secured Series B funding from the London firm Unbound. Why now?
Yes, thank you very much. So as a matter of fact, we had 3 funding rounds at Whalebone. Robert, who is the co-founder, and me, we are very conservative people, right? And when we started Whalebone, we had no idea about business and entrepreneurship, etc. So we didn't know there is anything like investors, etc. Right? So we always, thought like, okay, there will be customers, etc. So only after some time we discovered there is a way how to boost and accelerate your business. So this is when we first time considered some investors, but the company reached a profitability at that point, right? So we kind of followed that approach. So again, for us, it's always a booster. However, it's not a mean to survive, and I think it's a great way how to scale. It's not the only way how to scale. First of all, it's always the customers, it's the revenue. But if you can cheat a little bit and inject more money into that, right? I think it's beneficial because it can be a competitive advantage, and you can grow faster than your competitors.
And how exactly can you grow? What will this investment allow you to do next?
Well, so normally you can hire double the team 1 year earlier. Yeah, something is usually the formula, right? So you kind of travel in time. So you fast forward the future when it comes to size of the team, the ability to deliver, etc. So in our case, what does it mean, or the recent funding? There are multiple motivations, but the main motivation is customer intimacy, right? So where we are investing is having strong customer-facing teams all around the world, but not only sales teams, but also teams that go much further. So product management, bit of not R&D, but threat intelligence, customer success, some advisory services, etc. Right? Because the intimacy with the customer and with the markets plays a big role, and we at Wellborn, we want to protect 1 billion people, right? So there is no way to fulfill our mission if we were not global, or actually if by design Europe would play a small role, right? So what we're doing is we're doing our best to design the company in a way that, as a matter of fact, the gravity is outside of Europe, because this is the only way how to fulfill the mission.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you are also planning to grow from about 100 to 300 people. What are the biggest challenges in scaling the team?
I think the biggest challenge is to understand that I believe, or what we are in right now, we're at approximately 150, 160 people, right? And I believe what is right now past us is the range between 100 and 150, and I think it's quite it's unusual, and most of the companies either by design, or they just feel like they don't want to hire more people, stop below the 100 people mark. And I understand why, because it's a struggle, right? And the marginal utility of next person is heavily decreasing, right? So I think if you have, if your goal or a mission between 80 people and it's like, sorry, beyond the 80 people is like 2x, etc., you should probably not do it, right? Because it's a pain, right? So I think it's worth the adventure or the struggle only if you want to go far beyond, right? Which is our case, right? So where we want to go is much further, right? To build much bigger company, a truly global company, a giant, right? So it means that this is a warm-up exercise, 100 to 150 people, right? It's an expert challenge. Yeah, people start realizing there are many problems, communication, dissatisfaction, you hire too fast, so there are mismatches, etc. Right? And I think the challenge is not to get nervous about it, because it's an expert challenge. It's if you open a book about scaling a company, it will be there, the face, right? Everything will be described. Hey, this is going to happen to you, right? And then you're living it, and it happens, right? So, but don't worry, it is a known problem. It is described in the textbook, so you just need to stay calm and treat it according to the textbook, hopefully.
Last question before we move on to the audience. Besides people, you have mentioned the goal of becoming cyber centaur, not just unicorn. What does that mean? Where do you see Whalebone in the future?
Well, so definitely I would like to Whalebone to be listed, publicly listed. So our plan A is to do an IPO, right? So to be on a stock exchange, right? And primarily the idea is to be listed on Wall Street, right? So the threshold for Wall Street is about $100 million annual revenue. So I think it's pretty achievable. short term or mid term. And recently also there was an event sponsored by Prague Stock Exchange, and they approached me what I think about stock exchange, etc. I said it's great, and we want to go to Wall Street. And then we continued the talk, and they asked about the Prague Stock Exchange. So I told them it's unfortunately not possible unless they move the stock exchange to Brno. Then we can consider dual listing, right? So I think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna move the stock exchange to Brno, and then we can do dual listing.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Thank you for answering my questions. And now let's have a look at what the audience is interested about. Albert is asking, what unique advantages does the Brno region offer that helped your company scale globally? And which limitations do you have to overcome? Sorry.
Right. Thank you, Albert, for the question. So, I mean, there is an obvious engineering talent, right? And even last year, when we attracted so many potential investors, we invited them to Brno, and we also invited them to go to the innovation center to speak about the region. And then, when everyone came back, they told us, "Hey guys, if you ever considered second location, just forget it. Yeah? Just stay in Brno. It makes no sense to open a second headquarter or second engineering location, right?" So, and these were funds from the US, from the UK. So, an interesting feedback. Everyone knows Brno, and the capital world knows Brno very well, right? So, this is from the engineering perspective. Yeah, although I pretty much like Košice and Belgrade. I would love to go there. Probably, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So that's for the engineering talent, and then I'm extremely thankful to a Brno factory of steam turbines. Former první brněnská strojírna, then Alstom, then Siemens, right? Because the guys there, they do a true international trade. So over the century, nearly 7,000 turbines have been delivered all over the world, and they were all sold by Brno salespeople, right? And this is where I started my career, right? I never knew there are any barriers in international trade, right? And I wish there are more companies in Brno who see no barriers, and it's like completely natural, no-brainer that you do international business. So I'm thankful to that factory, right? And I think this is what we are lacking in Brno, right? The international trade skills, widely spread.
We have time only for one more question from the audience, but this one is really interesting. If you would not run this company, what would you do?
Yes, so I would run another company, right? Whalebone is my idea number 20, right? Only one survived, or actually two, including Whalebone, but I would nearly 100% run another company.
Okay, thank you, Richard, for sharing your insights. It's been really inspiring. Richard Malovič, everyone. And please stay with us on the stage.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you. Just take the other seat, please, and you can stay with us, okay? As we also stay with the field of cybersecurity, let me welcome on the stage CTO and co-founder of Tretmark, Kryštof Hilar.
Thank you. So this is the hot seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Kryštof, we just heard how Whalebone protects users at the telecom level. How would you explain what Tretmark does to keep people safe in digital environment?
Mm-hmm. So let's talk briefly through why, what, and how. So what's the problem? I guess everyone here has heard about financial fraud in online banking. So imagine, these scenarios you can read on Novinky.cz or whatever place you read. Like someone calls you and, hello, I am from police and there is some issue with your account. And this is like perfect, secure account you should transfer your money to and you will be okay. Or maybe, hello, I am from Microsoft. Please run TeamViewer and I will help you to remove the virus from your computer. Or maybe they will just use your username and password, log in, and send it away. So this is the problem we are solving. How we are solving it? We actually monitor everything what happens inside the session of the online banking or mobile banking. So we know about your every mouse movement, about every keystroke, and we can even tell people apart based on how they hold phone in their hand. So if you would steal my phone from my hand, you shouldn't be able to, transfer any money from my account in case the application is protected by trademark.
That's impressive. Thank you for doing that. Can you give us an idea of how many threats you help to stop every day or week?
So we can talk some numbers. So we are scoring about 17 billion. 17 billion payments per year, which is like 5 trillion euros that are coming through through our hands. And we are able to catch, let's say, 80% of the attacks. It's pretty hard problem. If you should build a machine that's almost 100% accurate and does absolutely nothing, then you can build a machine that says everything is fine. And you will be correct 99.9% of cases because you are really looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look at how it all began. You started out here in Brno working with Czech banks. What helped you move from those early clients to international markets?
So we actually did not know what we are doing, but it happened that we were able to expand from individual branches of the banks to the groups. And it's like if you have a reference in Czech bank and you come to whatever German bank, it means absolutely nothing. And the same thing happened then when we expanded to US. Fortunately, we were able to find internal champions in, let's say, international banking groups, either from Czech Republic or Slovakia, and they loved the product so much that they almost sold it instead of us to the banking group. And then we actually had an international reference, and it was much easier.
Great. Speaking of trust, it's hard for a startup to gain the trust of big financial institutions, right? How did you manage this? And was your background in ethical hacking part of this story?
Yeah, I think it's a bit different if you send a salesperson to a bank and he will be talking about whatever was the price and what's the pricing model, is it per user or per transaction, and maybe he will try to do some manipulation, right? You will get a discount, you will get this for free. And but in the early days, it was us, the founders, either my co-founder Michael or me, and we are both ethical hackers. So we were talking about the problem, and we were just kind of using our personal brand. So for one example is the first bank in Switzerland. I've just flown there, and I've told them, I will not leave until it works and it's catching your fraud, and it worked out.
Yeah, perfect approach. Just a quick reminder for the audience again, if you have any questions for Kryštof, please send them in through the app and we will answer them later on. But back to you. You have gained the trust not only of banks, but also investors, raising 37 million across 6 rounds. How do you actually approach grow equity in Trademark?
So everything started. So we have different types of investors, and we have get the financial rounds in different stages of the company. So the first seed round, it was kind of interesting story. And so me and Michael, my co-founder, we were working in different company, and we were actually ethical hackers, and we were doing some, assessments. We were hacking into things, into banks and other. One of the assessment was actually to, verify whether the software from IBM actually works and protect people from fraud. And we have found out that it does not, and it's a crap. And I've built a better version over weekend that we sold to a bank. But we were still working on different company. So we were kind of launching our own company at the same time. And it was like, okay, this will be either lawsuit or investment. It turned out to be investment. So the first investment was actually the company we worked for. Then we gained some capital from Czech Republic. So it was around 2017. So we were thinking, we need some boost to actually, hire more people and, increase the pace. And the last financial round was, last year, like in December, and it was 20 million rounds from Octopus Ventures from UK and RAC Capital from New York.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to investment strategy, how do you split the roles with the other co-founder, Michal Trestner?
It was, he's a great guy, and I would say like 99% was on his shoulders, as it's usually on a CEO's shoulders. So he had like hundreds of calls, with investors, and it was, if you are dealing with Americans, it's like, it's amazing. And it can, range from anything like truly amazing or it's a crap, get lost. And you will not know, right away which one is it. You need to spend another hour, and they, invite more people, and they ask for numbers and, data room with whatever contracts you have, and then they decide, okay, we will not invest. So, it was really, really, hard work to get there. Not mine. I was struggling with different things.
Okay. Speaking of the US, let's talk more about your US expansion. The initial effort to establish your US presence in the US around 2021, right, didn't go very well. Why? What happened? Can you share?
It's like, in this small room, I can properly admit that it was a total clusterfuck. So what happened? Like, we were not delivering results our investors expected, and it was totally our fault. We should have delivered. If you have a venture funding that you have signed in your blood, that you will, bring them money back and you will grow. We were not delivering. We were, almost like flat at the time. And the investors, they have only limited number of tools. They can talk to you. They can talk to you once again next quarter, and they can replace CEO. So this is what they, so our investors decided that this is not going anywhere, and honestly, we probably were not, doing the right things. And when it comes to growth, we still had like NRR of like 120%. It means like no customer ever left us, and we are, increasing the price for our customers, not price, but we are selling them more, products and features. But we were not growing like new customers. So they decided to actually find external CEO, and it didn't work out well. It was like a typical American who was selling mainly himself in front of the investors and everything else second. So we just, burnt out horrible amounts of money. And then, we finally, together with the investors, decided, okay, this is not going to work. So Michael, my co-founder, he is back as a CEO role, and we have restarted the strategy. So we have like fired the salespeople we had. And so these days, we have a different team in the US, and we have around 6 banks, across the US, and we are, getting more and more.
Mm-hmm. Now that your headquarters is in the US, how do you balance operations between Brno and US and other locations like London, Madrid?
Mm-hmm. So I would say the story is similar to what Richard said. So Brno is a great location. So we have the engineering here. When it comes to some specialized talent, from engineering area, we are also having people in other areas, other countries nearby in Europe, and we have go-to-market teams in London and in US. So it's like we have regional leaders that are responsible for the growth, and we try to support them as much as possible with product management, product marketing, and sometimes there is some executive touch needed to finish the deal or something like that. So we are trying still to actually run the company from Brno. But from the outsiders, it looks like we are US company, because if you are about to sell to US, you need to be US company.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Brno, do you see Brno as headquarter, as the hub for cybersecurity in Czech Republic or Europe?
Like if you take a look on cybersecurity companies, they are either from Brno or Israel, and sometimes from Prague. So I would say definitely.
Yeah, we are happy to hear that. Looking ahead, as CTO, what trends in cybersecurity are you paying the most attention to?
So everyone speaks about AI. I hate the word. It's like a next token prediction machine.
Okay.
That's actually, if you know how these machines are trained, it's like you take a book, you throw out some words, and you let the machine to complete them. What's the most probably next word in the book? That's how you train them, like if I simplify it. So I don't like calling it AI, but people do. And we are using it for all sorts of cases. And so are the attackers. So, a few years ago, if you wanted to make a phishing website, you need to understand the language. And it was sometimes easy actually to see this is a phishing because the check is broken. This is Miláček zákazník is my favorite example, but it's not a reality these days. So attackers, they can clone your voice completely perfectly. They can clone your image. They can write a perfect email. They can make a perfect website within seconds. So I would say it's accelerating everything. So I would just say there is more of this problem that we have to solve.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have building on AI from day one, right? Not just generative boom that we hear from all around.
Exactly. The generative boom, it's actually coming from a 2017 paper called Attention is All You Need, and they introduced the transformer neural network architecture. So we were kind of using that before it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the future, when you think about the future of Threatmark, do you see it more in terms of entering new markets, expanding into new sectors, e-commerce, crypto, anything else?
So I would say, it's important in a startup that you are actually solving a problem that exists. You have a big enough total addressable market, so you have a space to grow, and and you need a focus. So far we are still focused on bankings. We believe that the market is big enough so we can stay there. And our mission always has been and always will be to protect the end users from fraud. So we would like to continue on our mission, accelerate, and protect more people. And we would like to become a #1 player in this industry across the world.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing this. And now it's time for the audience. And Richard, you may be the first to ask Kryštof if you want.
Yes. So, Kryštof, how do you feel about acquiring other companies?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I had like a completely naive view before. I was thinking you need to be like super large company so you can afford that. But if you have investors, it can be like a completely independent deal for them. It can if you find a company that actually has a potential to grow and there are some synergies with your company, then your existing investors can likely invest in that. So I think it will happen at some time. It's like cheating again, right? You can accelerate in a non-organic way, but I would say you can do it. You can make some mistakes, like if the culture does not fit or the technology does not fit. So far we have not done it. I have no personal experience with that, but I would say it usually happens to companies as they grow.
And one relevant question to that: when did you first feel Threatmark became a global player?
I would say, once we were able to get to Erste Group, which is, very big banking group in Europe, spanning across 8 countries, it was like, okay, we are no longer that really small company. It was good feeling.
Mm-hmm. And we have a chance to dive into more technology questions as you are a CTO. Which fraud trend scares you because it is actually brilliant?
Yeah, so I am very afraid of deep fakes, and I personally don't see any good way how to protect from it, because it's like a model that's capturing millions and millions of samples to understand the inner structure, inner nature. What does it mean to have a face, or what does it mean to be Kryštof? From either pixels perspective or voice perspective, and then you just shoot some random noise in that, and you generate it. And I really don't see any way how you can prevent that. So I think this will be a big problem, and it will just accelerate.
Mm-hmm. And one more question about diving deeper into the technology from Jiří Tobola. Would you be able to send money away from client account, hypothetically and technically?
You mean like we as a anti-fraud vendor somehow integrated with the banking? Yeah, I would say maybe, but no, that's not what we do. That's not what we can do.
Yeah, that's
you can always
expected.
you can always write exploit or something like, but no, we don't have access to actually sending money. We are just monitoring, and the bank is actually asking us, hello trademark, someone claiming to be John Doe is trying to send money. What do you think about it? And in a few milliseconds we say it's a good idea or it's a bad idea to let the money go.
Okay. Did you expect other answer, Jiří? Okay, maybe one more personal question. Considering that you work in very innovative industry, how do you learn, continue expanding your skills?
So that is like expanding skills of the company and expanding skills of myself. So I'm always trying to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. Sometimes it's super expensive, but we are just trying to hire better people. Always, you as a founder should be the dumbest person in the room, and you should just say, okay, this sounds like good. Challenge the person a bit, and then let him come up with better thing. But personally, me, I was attending Masaryk University when I started Trademark, so I had to drop out, or not had to. I had to make a choice, and I made a choice, and I cannot yet say if it was the right choice or not. It feels good to be entrepreneur, but sometimes I'm just feeling I would like to learn something. So honestly, I whenever I have a free time, I am just reading papers and going through math textbooks and writing proofs. Like I love it. So.
Okay, do you have time for it in your role of CTO?
Yeah, I force it. I selfishly force it to have some time for that.
That's great. Okay, last question. So to sum up, what are the next steps for you, for Trademark? What are you most excited about?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about conquering the US market. We, as ethical hackers, we are running like some small project of scraping all the banks in the world and looking if there is a competition. And it seems like 80% of our market is kind of free in the US with no competition. So I'm just eager to protect those poor people in the US.
Sounds great. Okay. Thank you, Kryštof, for answering all the questions. Kryštof, Hilar, everyone.
Thank you.
And also, please stay with us on the stage.
So I move here?
No,
Okay.
just stay here. Because it's time to move to our third guest, I would like to invite Adam Šoukal to the stage. Adam is co-founder of FinTech Roger, which has become part of global giant Orbion this year. Adam, welcome.
Thank you very much.
For those who may not be familiar, what Roger do, can you explain what Roger does? What problem are you solving in the market?
Yeah, so we fund companies. We equip companies with liquidity, with funding, and we do not compete with venture capital with the growth capital. We don't compete with the banking capital. We kind of between those. So we make sure that our clients have enough funds to pay for their day-to-day operations. And how we do it? Well, we think that the goods and services that the company provide are one of the most valuable assets that they have. So we buy, or our investors buy those underlying invoices, and we exchange them for cash. So if companies would get paid in 60, 90 days, we buy those invoices and we sell them to investors, and those companies get paid immediately. So that's accelerating that cash conversion cycle, and they can grow, they can get more customers, do more projects, and we are helping them to maintain the rhythm they want to maintain. As of today, the companies that are using Roger either to fund their receivables or to fund their suppliers are creating 2.5% of Czech GDP. So there is still some space in front of us. But there are segments that we are especially focusing on. And for instance, 68% of Czech e-commerce is using Roger for their suppliers. So there are segments that we are focusing on and very successful.
Great. It's nice to hear that the project has been impressively growing since almost day one. What's behind it? What's the secret?
So when you look at US, 70% of the capital in the US SMEs or US small and medium-sized companies is coming from private credit. Only 30% is coming from banks. And we see that obviously banks are super active here in the region and are providing a lot of companies to the capital, but a lot of capital to the companies. But there is a big chunk of the market that is underserviced, and namely SMEs have very difficult access to liquidity. So we have seen similar platforms being successful in the UK, in the US, and we were looking at them thinking, well, if we don't do it completely wrong, this should be successful. So I just seen something similar somewhere else when I was working in London, and I thought, well, damn it, I will try. I will give it a go, and I quit my London banking job and started Roger back in 2013 from my VIC office.
How do you approach growth at all? Is it always a positive thing? Or
No.
has been for you?
So we have been one of those big, very conservative fintechs that we always wanted to make some sort of profit. We obviously have done some investment rounds, but that was mainly to accelerate things, that we were in the right direction or running in the right trajectory, and we just wanted to make the team bigger and move faster. I'm looking at those events as something that can accelerate, but you always need to work much harder to manage that change. And you guys know it, that it looks like a lot of work before you get that investment, but it's even harder once you get it, because you need to apply those funds wisely and just keep up with the growth. So no, it was not always positive. And I do remember sitting in an audience at one of the YITS events where someone from Ysoft was speaking about Ysoft having a difficult time managing growth, and I was like, well, I don't have that problem. We were chasing customers, and after we were on many occasions in the situations where our processes was not up to the amount of transactions that we were doing, and we were doing mistakes, and the system was not keeping up, and there were not enough people. So we had a lot of difficult moments managing growth.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I have a quick reminder for the audience again. Let's use the Eventi app to ask questions. We will get to them shortly. Let's get back to the journey of Roger to Orbian. Looking back over more than a decade now, what key moments do you see on the journey to Orbian in terms of technology, business, investments?
So the first important milestone for us was quite early on. A couple of years after we founded the company in 2015, we have made a deal with with a company called Grid. They are from Brno, and they are the biggest provider of electronic data interchange. So that's the data that companies are sending between each other when they want to buy some goods. And we learned how to read those data with permission of the customers, and we were able to fund on that data. So we kind of standardized the receivable, and we made it into an asset that always looked the same, and we started to sell to investors and banks. So that was the important moment. 2017, we had a first venture capital round, and we decided to go for smallish local venture capital fund. Even though we had offers from strategic partners, we thought that it's a bit too early, and that proved as a right decision. And in 2020, we have sold 25% of our company to Komerční banka, which is part of Société Générale Group. Obviously, that worked great for us from many perspectives. From perspective of logo, because we are in finance, so the credibility is really important. From access to customers, and from the amount of liquidity that we had for our customers, so that was very good. But at the same time, I was always looking abroad, and when Orbian came with the offer, that was good enough for KB and good enough for us as founders. It was something that was very attractive for me, because now we can work with Orbian on the global clients. We can speak to the global customers and global funds and global banks, and it kind of gave us the international scale that I was always kind of attracted by.
Yeah, you mentioned that you had been in dialogue with Orbian for years. Why did the acquisition happen now, this year?
So it actually happened last year, but it took half a year to approve because we are regulated, so the Czech National Bank and anti-monopoly and all of that. I guess it was a part of the journey that we kind of were looking to go abroad and do more internationally. In our line of business, it's super difficult because it's regulated to do it from Czech Republic, and we kind of need the big international partner. So I think it was part of the journey. Obviously, we were in a situation where we had a minority investor that was a strategic investor, and we were standing before the decision that we are either going to sell the rest of the company to the KB or Société Générale Group and kind of exit and kind of leave that kind of business and maybe do something else, or we can stay in the business and swap our shares for shares in the international company. And I kind of like the business. I learned it in those 12 years that I'm doing it. And I decided to stay. And my co-founder, Thomas, our CTO, decided the same. So we were in agreement and we wanted to keep the journey.
Okay. Speaking of about you, many founders dream of a big exit, taking a break, and maybe starting something new. Was that on the table for you?
I want to start anything new. I like what I'm doing. This is my professional sport in a way. I love my job, and I mean, obviously, I had a couple of ideas for different fintechs. I see some niches in the market that are empty, and we could do something with them. But we have built such a good position on the market. We have great technologies that we probably think that we are one of the best in the world in what we're doing. And there is so much work to be done. So I just want to keep digging.
Great. So you changed your major stake at Roger for a percentage stake in Orbian. How has your role changed? How has it evolved?
So I'm obviously looking after Roger. That's a company of 50 people here in Brno. We have a tech team here, and Brno is becoming a more and more important hub for Orbian, which is not a huge company in terms of people. It's 70 of them, so it's not like a massive corporate. I love the size of it because it's 100-ish, 20 people all together. And Orbien just recently made a deal with Moro Systems here from Brno, big software house, and they are working with them on some things. And Orbien loves Brno, so whenever the owner and the managing team comes to Brno, they're really happy with how we work and what kind of people we have here. So I think Brno is an important hub for us as a group, and it will stay an important hub. We have some products that are the same that Orbien does on a global scale, but we do some products that they don't do, and we can roll it on top of the portfolio of Orbien. So that's something that I will be looking at, and I'm looking at now. And as we are a payment institution, we might do more of a regulatory things for the group. So there are a couple of things that we can be very useful for our new shareholder, and I will make sure that we are an important part of that group.
And you personally, how are you enjoying the role of one of the 6 managing directors?
I know Tom, the ultimate owner of Orbien, for 7 or 8 years. He has built Orbien over 25 years, and he's a great guy, and we have a good vibe together, and I really enjoy working with him. And the same for the remaining five MDs that are there. I feel like they are really good professionals. They have a great social capital, really good networks, and I have a lot to learn from them. So I really enjoy working with them, and I kind of feel that we're speaking the same language. We have similar priorities, and it has been very good so far.
Mm-hmm. It all sounds smooth, easy, but were there any tough moments, any failure on the journey you can share?
I think that, like, when you grow, and we keep steady growth of about 30% year on year, and that means that you will get a lot of things wrong, and a lot of things will just not happen the way you want. I think it's important to not be afraid of doing mistakes, and we do a lot of them. And it's good to do a calculated mistakes, so you know what is the upside, what is the risk, and you are willing to take that risk, and you know that it's not going to be deadly for you. So I'm always motivating my team not to be afraid of doing new things. Not everything will happen perfectly, but it's the way forward. And so you kind of have to accept it that there will be a lot of things that go wrong, and that's okay. You should not do the fatal mistakes that will break your back eventually, or do unnecessary mistakes that are just silly. So and we have done a lot of them. We kind of were focusing on new products that never got traction, and we lost money on them. But we always knew that can be the case. So it was obviously very frustrating, because a lot of those decisions were mine, and I had to accept that I got it wrong. But yeah, we're still here. So probably on aggregate, we are doing okay.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. Okay, enough from me. Let's take some questions from the audience. And again, first of all, I would like to ask Kryštof if you have a question for Adam.
Okay. So maybe if you should summarize, what would be the most valuable thought, like a $1 billion thought that you have learned, in your journey, like condensed experience and wisdom? It's tough.
Yeah. So I was thinking the other day, like, what would help me back in the day, in like 2013, 14, 15, when we were starting the company, if me as Adam from now could speak with that Adam 10 years ago, I would be saying him, don't worry, just keep doing what you're doing. It will be all right. It will be successful. So it's a kind of that reassurance that if you keep working and it makes sense, that the business plan is correct, it makes sense, And even though that sometimes things go wrong, you shouldn't change the direction. You should just keep digging. So that would be probably one thing. And the other one, I kind of learned that there are no shortcuts, that you can accelerate your growth by funding round or funding a good strategic partner, but you will always have to work it. Like you will always have to work on every single client and transaction, and you will have to do it yourself. So there are no shortcuts.
Do you have any question for Adam?
Yeah, perhaps. So, Adam, you have plenty of experience with London, right? So, what do you think is attractive for London and Brno, and what do you think we can learn from London?
I'll start with Brno. I think that we have a top-notch tech universities, and the tech talent that we have here is great, is brilliant, and there is good reason why all those big international companies like IBM, Honeywell, and Red Hat, and all of those have a hub here. So I think that's something that London can actually learn from us, that we have a really good technical talent. What we could learn from them is that they perceive an Earth like a global market. They look at it as a playground, and sometimes we look at Czech Republic like only at Czech Republic as a only playground, and they just feel very free and comfortable to do business internationally, and they're kind of very natural in doing so. So I think that the international business experience and the international sales is something that they do probably better than us, and we can learn that from them.
Okay, thank you. One question from my colleague Lucie from the JIC. How can Roger or Orbian help fast-growing companies? Is there a financing tool, for example, if the company only has a promised order contract?
So what we do, the company has invoices with long due dates, and we buy those invoices, give them cash immediately, or the company wants to pay later to their suppliers, and we pay on the behalf of the company, and the company pays us with 60, 90 days delay. So we have product for account receivable side for the invoices that are going from the company, and for the account payable sides to the invoices going to the company. So yes, if you have a new big deal with a partner and you need to buy a lot of inventory for it, we can buy that inventory for you, and we can help you to survive that cash conversion cycle.
Okay, thank you. Other question: what was your strategy for M&A process? Have you used investment banker?
Yeah, that's a good one. We had an investment banker. We had like a freelancer that has done one of the biggest transactions here in Czech Republic. We had him from the round 2, so we used him for round with Echelon Capital, with the venture fund. We used him for KB, and we used him for the deal with Orbian. I tend as a user, as an owner and a CEO, to have a lot of bilateral meetings, and sometimes it's difficult for the owner to kind of maintain certain kind of rounds or timeline of that M&A procedure. And I always found it helpful to have someone who kind of navigated me and say, look, you are giving too much priority to this potential investor and not looking enough after this one. So kind of you need to get it in the stages where you kind of do like a preliminary, and after you pick the top 3, and after you work on the and yada yada. And I always found it helpful to have someone next to me saying, kind of helping me with the process. And after with that investment banker, we were also using AKSKP, which is the local Brno kind of startup-focused legal office. And I think Pavla might be here, and she's brilliant. Thank you very much for helping us.
Okay, and thank you for sharing your insights and taking us behind the curtain. Thank you all of our guests. It's been a pleasure having you on stage, and also thank you all for being with us. Now it's time for the coffee break, and right after it, this stage will host the discussion with next generation founders, so don't miss it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.